السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. نحمده ونصلي على رسوله الكريم. أما بعد. Brothers and sisters, welcome to our weekly program, Got Questions. We welcome all of you. Alhamdulillah, we get a chance to be together for a few moments weekly, alhamdulillah, where you're able to ask your questions. And alhamdulillah, in the presence of our scholars, we're able to get some guidance and answers. Assalamu alaikum, Mufti Abdullah Sahab. How are you?
Walaikum salam, alhamdulillah. How's
How are
everything?
things?
Good, good. Everything is well.
MashaAllah, alhamdulillah. Great to hear. What's up? So, maybe a quick recap to alhamdulillah, an event that we had collectively a few days ago
hmm
in Long Island with Surah Maryam. What's some of your feedback or what's your guidance? Inshallah, I know that we have sent out or we're sending out a survey to our community, and I
hmm
think it's so important that our communities begin to see like, oh, you see the glare on your glasses?
Yeah, it's too much.
Yeah. So I think having a sense of interaction with the local scholars for the community is so important. And I think that concept needs to be built a bit more where people find resources within their local imams and local scholars. I know there is a whole write up a few years ago where they talked about, these traveling imams or people who come in and they leave, but people, yes, alhamdulillah, benefit from their presence with one bayan or two, but people who are present in the community to create like a long-term relationship and a sense of understanding, and not only just understanding, but I guess a learning journey from their local scholars. Can you shed some light on that? What's up?
Yeah, it's definitely important. Uh, Local scholars will never be able to compete with whatever is online because there is so much material online. It's like millions and billions of hours of material, so much writing, so much different things. The only thing is that a regular person is not really able to differentiate between what is authentic, what is not authentic, who is, uh, which scholar can we actually take knowledge from, which scholar is not really that, doesn't really have a good foundation in their scholarship, or are they even a scholar? That's another thing.
Mm.
So it's just some of these things that we all need to pay attention to. Online material can definitely be used as supplemental, but every community should have some sort of educational program for adults, for teenagers, for kids. Kids and teenagers usually get covered in like maktab and weekend schools and stuff, but then the young adults and the adults, uh, there's a lot of times, most of the time there are no consistent programs for them, and there's actually different reasons for this. It could either be because uh, either the imam doesn't know how to interact with those kinds of people, young adults or adults, or because they themselves are not consistent. It could be one of many different things. Sometimes it's a combination of everything together. But every community should have something like this.
So this may open up a can of worm, but do you think sometimes the imams are overworked where they don't have time to really even do that? Sometimes they don't get a lot of help within their community. Sometimes a single man has to handle like multiple things. Do you think that could be a reason in some of those places?
I don't think this is a can of worms. I think it's definitely something that needs to be spoken about. It's a good thing that you brought it up. But yeah, there are a lot of communities where they expect a lot from the imam, but the compensation is not like that. The compensation is not equal to what they're expecting from the imam. A lot of communities, if anyone was to look at a regular job description for an imam, they'll see that the masjid or the community wants someone that can do 15 different things and be good at all of them, and they want it in a way where he's perfect every time, doesn't make mistakes. But at the same time, when it comes to paying him, they're like, okay, we're gonna pay you peanuts. What is the saying? You pay peanuts and you get a monkey.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. That's true. Yes. Yes.
So
Oh, good.
it really depends on that as well. Obviously, if you're expecting the imam to already be in charge of like weekend schools, to teach in the weekend schools, to lead all five prayers, to teach in maktab or to manage a maktab, and to do like a weekly halaqa. I mean, what time does he have left then?
Mm,
He also has a family. He has
true.
a family. He has his own interests. He has his own hobbies. He has things. Remember, people are calling him at times where he's probably with his family. So
Mm,
it's those things that people need to consider. So if you have to have multiple people doing multiple things, just like any organization usually does. You have, for even non-for-profit organizations other than Masajid, they have multiple people within them that do different things. You have marketing managers, you have uh, the president or the CEO. Then you have for outreach, you have someone that's doing the taxes, all the money. So you have different people for different things. uh,
mm.
Masjids don't really expect the imam to do taxes. They actually wouldn't want the imam to do taxes. They don't want him to know how much money they have.
Oh man.
Yeah. So
So we got Brother Kevin saying salam, my beautiful muftis. He's
Alaikum
lovely.
salam.
He's saying with masjid boards, with masjid boards being filled with those who might not have the proper leadership to handle masjid, is there something in the Quran that tells us what to do?
You gonna take that or?
No, so
I,
I think that we should appreciate the brothers and sisters who are able. Look, there's a lot that goes on in a masjid, right?
I was
So
I was gonna say that. Yeah.
right, so
I
there's
was gonna because sorry, I'm just gonna add this in there
go
because I
please.
said everything I said before.
No,
I
I
wanna
know.
I
No,
wanna add on to that.
please, please, please do add on. And I know that whatever you said was meant for the betterment of the community. It wasn't something against someone, but it is a
No, no,
wholesome.
no.
But please
I
do add.
didn't. I was not even speaking about
Correct,
any specific individual or any
correct,
specific
correct,
masjid or even the boards.
correct.
So obviously in bigger organizations and bigger masajid, you have a board and then you have an imam. You usually have a board and then you have an imam or multiple employees, and imam being the main one. The first thing is that we do need to appreciate those brothers that are on the board that are giving their time to the masjid. They're volunteering their time. Most, I think, all of them or most of the time, 99% of the time, none of those volunteers, none of the board members are actually paid. Being after saying that, we also need to understand that them giving their time is a very very good thing, but their expertise should be used, or they should use their expertise in things which they have knowledge about, they're proficient about. So
Yeah,
for example, if someone is good at managing a team or managing taxes or whatever they're good at doing, then that specific area should be given to that person. But what I personally have a problem with, or what every imam would have a problem with, would be a person that is on the board or a person that has influence in the community that doesn't really know what goes on in the imam shoes, that doesn't know what an imam deals with, that doesn't know the ins and outs of the community. That's number one. That also doesn't have the proper knowledge of Islam to tackle those problems. When they start telling the imam or a teacher, an Islamic teacher, of how they should teach or how they should do their job, that's where I personally have a problem. There's something where there's two different issues over here. One is the Islamic perspective. No one should be telling, not I don't think anyone should be, especially a person with uh, inadequate knowledge, should not be telling an imam that this is not the proper Islamic way, or this is the proper Islamic way, or I'm going to do my own research and then I'll let the community know, or I'll let you know, or something like that. It doesn't really make sense. Why do you have an imam there in the first place then? Why don't you become the imam? The second area is where there's an issue of legality. Hey, this is not legal. I don't think you should do this, or this could get us into legal trouble. That's different. That's completely different issue. I'm speaking about the Islamic
yes,
perspective.
yes, yes. Assalamu alaikum, Mufti Saab.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.
How are you?
الحمد لله. How are you?
Mashallah. Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah, we're doing well. So, Mufti Abdullah Sahab, I think you're 100% correct. we appreciate the brothers and sisters who are volunteering their time in the masajid. They're spending a lot of time in making masjids abad and populated. They're sitting
They
there.
all have full-time jobs, man.
They
It's
have
not easy.
families, they have full-time job, everything like that. But again, as you mentioned so beautifully, that everyone has to draw a line, meaning what is my limit? Where do I draw a line when it comes to deen, when it comes to Islam? I need to make sure that I need to consult with someone who is the reliable source, a person who has the authority to give a particular verdict or an enter in the field to really move forward. So I think, uh, and just as a side note, a lot of time we hear people, complain and say a lot of things, but I always request those same individuals as well to step up and start giving volunteer time, right? You don't have
Exactly.
to be on the board to do something good for a masjid. You don't have to be on the committees to, or your name on the plaque to do something good. If someone wants to do something good in their masjid, they'll do it behind the scenes without even knowing, right? And they'll start being more involved. But again, on that same note, because masajid leadership now is not only just the imams, but it's the board. We really need to also have, I guess, a sense of training on what is our responsibility, what is the haqq of fulfilling those responsibility, right? As being sort of like the amir or a person who's responsible over running and managing so many funds of the masjid itself. So I think in that sense, Brother Kevin has a very good point, is that those leadership really needs to learn their responsibility. So for example, if there's a masjid and there's a leadership, and if someone if they're not consulting with their imam on how to use their zakat properly, and the masjid is collecting it, now that puts everyone in risk, meaning the imam, the people who are there, the community that's giving the money. So I think the board and the people who are responsible need to continuously take the steps to make themselves more learned on their deen, their roles and responsibilities. And subhanAllah, at the time of Umar bin Khattab radiallahu anhu, when he was busy in fulfilling the responsibility of the ummah, and someone would come for something personal, he would close the light, or he would close the lantern, and he would close whatever was happening from the collective way for his infiradi and individual works as well, right? So how do we manage the amanat of the ummah? I think that's something very, very important, and entire boards and leadership should think about this. And I think as imams, we should definitely push for it. I remember about 11, 12 years ago, we had an event called How to Run Masjid Islamically. How to run masjids Islamically, where we talked about how to deal with finances, how to deal with wealth, how to deal with mashwaras within the masajid, how do you take opinions and stuff like that. Mufti Wasab, any thoughts from your side with regards to what could be done, or what could be the appropriate steps to really bring forth more wholesome picture in our masajid?
No comments particular.
Okay, good. Jazakallah khair. Mutsab, there's one question that had come in today, and I wanted to touch base with both of you guys before, but subhanAllah, I guess was meant now. A brother had asked with regards to day trading, and I know that we had already mentioned something with regards to day trade. Um, you know, um, so the point that he mentioned specifically was that when they're day trading, their money is taken right away, meaning the money that they give or they give the money to buy a certain stock is taken out of their bank right away, even though there's a T plus two, the time where the stocks get transferred. And this is the, I think, law within the US, that it has to be transferred within 2 days. I think this is a law or something like that, that it has to take 2 days. So in that particular case, he was saying that when you sort of give someone some money and the check doesn't clear at least in few days, but you do give them a check or something. He was trying to give an analogy like that. So is there anything with regards to the recent fatawas? And of course, as Mufti Ibrahim Saab also, I think, had mentioned or written something with regards to it not being permissible. Is there any guidelines on day trade?
So the question was asked with an assumed answer, and then analogy is drawn to break that assumption of theirs. Maybe the question should be asked: is day trading permissible?
Correct. So that individual had brought up multiple questions, and then while giving the reply that it was not acceptable, uh, they had these continuous follow-up questions, which led towards, um, saying that, as the ulama and the fuqaha have mentioned, not to be permissible. But again, it was their question, so I just wanted more tashafi for them.
So when it comes to day trading, there are two things, two types. One is where you're actually buying uh, shares in the company, and then there's those where you're just buying your interest or your exposure in that. So when you're actually buying the shares, that's permissible, even though the money doesn't transfer completely. The transaction is still valid. The fuqaha have mentioned that it's permissible, but if you're only buying if you're only trading your exposure in the market, then that would not be permissible.
Can you elaborate on
What,
what the
can you
difference
can you
is?
say that in English?
So one one is where you're actually buying the trades. The other one is you're not buying the stocks, but you're simply buying the right to purchase it. This is
But
what
isn't that options?
options. Yeah, it usually falls under options, but they
Okay.
usually often do that in the day trading as well. So it's much quicker for a profit or a loss.
Right. So
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 if
if it's
they're
not
actually
option,
buying the stock, then that's fine. Although we would argue that it's unethical, right? When you buy into a company, the purpose is that you're investing into that. You feel that this company is doing good, so you want to invest into that. You want to make a difference, or you want to make a profit off something that's actually going to happen. So to day trade itself is unethical, but in the event that you're actually purchasing shares, then the transaction would be valid, even though, and you can sell that share afterwards, even though the money hasn't completely cleared out.
Afterwards, meaning before the 2 days are complete.
Correct.
so are they able to sell that stock, meaning for a
Yes.
higher price or whatever it is?
Yes.
So
So
day trading is permissible.
Yes,
It,
provided that you're buying actual stocks or
yeah.
not
shares.
option, not option.
Correct.
Oh, that opens up a whole new
So
field.
what is up with the T plus two?
Yeah,
Uh,
the settlement date
So
and the
that
true
settlement thing,
ownership.
although it's not settled, you don't really have access to that money anymore. So even like when it comes to banks, sometimes it doesn't settle till like a day or two after. But the
Yeah,
yeah,
bank does
most
give
of
you
the time.
provisional credit.
that's what he was actually trying to say. Yeah, that's what the person was trying to say, is that with regards to checks and stuff too.
I have a written answer. I'll share it with you, inshallah.
Oh,
I think it
please,
might
that
be
would be
good.
amazing. That would be great. So as long as it is not options, and they're buying the stock.
But again, we do emphasize that this is unethical. When you buy shares, the purpose is that you want to invest into the company.
Mm, interesting. Mufti Abdullah Sahib, you got a lot more question after that one.
Which one?
After this one, I see you take it deep.
What happened?
Whether Kevin goes, Mufti Wazil's stock portfolio must be on point.
Uh,
Kevin, if you need your portfolio managed, contact us, inshallah. There's a very slight fee. Is Mufti Sahib, is fees permissible to manage someone's portfolios?
sure, why not?
Kevin, contact me, bro. I got you, inshallah.
I
Oh
think
man.
I think we
Huh?
might need someone to do that for us.
Say that again.
I think we might need someone to do that for us with the current market.
Oh yes, oh yes, definitely. Oh yes, definitely. What is it, Said? But how can the community push for this without endangering imams since they get appointed by the board? Going back to Mufti Abdullah Sahib, that same question is that,
It's a good question. How can communities push for this? What is this?
meaning, I think when we're talking about creating more Islamic environment within the boards, learning more Islam, being more ethical, more connected towards Deen, I think there are always certain members of the community who might be a little bit more well versed in their Deen, who might hold some influential places. And I think having those individuals more involved, people usually who provide masajid with financial supports and others, and also have a dini mizaj or dini mindset, could also be a great support and help in bringing a lot of change. Not in the sense that they will be the only ones, but I think this could be one of the ways. I'm not sure. This is something that just comes to mind.
They should get rid of those boards.
Yeah,
I was gonna say you should have young people should start uh, going on the board. I mean, it takes effort, it takes time, but it's not like uh, I wouldn't call it like a whole separate second job. If I really think young people should start stepping up and start taking positions in masajid boards.
But the
Uh,
problem is most masajid don't want to give those positions up.
what happened?
The problem is most masajid don't want to give those positions up.
Yeah, it's
Or
gonna be
there's
a
like
fight.
some
It's
of those
gonna be
guys
a
that
fight.
find there. It's like they didn't make it in politics back home, so now they do it here.
that's it.
That's funny.
It's a sad truth. I mean, most of the masajid around here, they have huge masajid, enough space to do things, but nobody wants to do anything. If the community wants to do something, the masjid are like, hey, we don't want to do it, or you don't like it, go to the other masjid. Um, what do you want to do at the masjid? Just you're gonna take it with you or something?
Yeah, Mufti, so when you said about the young people, I think they also need to take a lot of time out too, right? It takes commitment, it takes time, not just the
Correct.
words, not just the people behind the screens, but really be on the ground, and be able to. And I think there are always certain people in every masjid that they work for Allah. They're always there, and they're like that base foundations, bunyad of it, and I think there's a lot of potential in our young people, but they need to they be a lot more committed. They need to be a lot more committed. And I think with regards to certain elders within the community, they need to learn how to pass on the leadership to younger people. It's very difficult. It's very, very hard to let someone else take that seat. But I think if it's meant for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then I think it becomes much, 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 much easier. But that's a difficult conversation as well. Uh, Let me see. Okay. One person asked, where did it go? Right here. I'm gonna try to take out the question so I can read it exactly. So as we know that there was where is it? Subhanallah. Okay, yeah. Assalamualaikum, what's up with the requirement of mahram for Hajj removed, which that is not Islamically, just because the way that the Hajj lottery and the Hajj system works now. The question is with that, with the requirement of Hajj mahram, Hajj being removed, is there any haram from a Sharia point view for a woman to travel without one? Asking for an elderly sister and a 40-year-old sister who's divorced with kids, both who have no male relative to travel with.
Bismillah. It is haram for a woman to travel the distance of Safa without a mahram or her husband, even if the Saudi government tells you it's fine. Saudi government doesn't define what Islam is. They make political and secular laws, and sometimes
Your voice is cutting off, Mufti. So
um, is it better now?
a little bit. Yeah.
So, oh, one second. It's probably gonna be better.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
So the Saudi government doesn't rule or make the laws of Sharia. Their laws are secular, and they do not have implementations on the Sharia itself. So in the Sharia, it's not permissible for a woman to travel the distance of Safa or more without the companionship of her husband or her mahram. So even if the Saudi government has ruled that you don't need a mahram for whatever reason, that wouldn't have any implications on the Islamic law itself. A woman would still require or would still need her mahram to travel, irrespective of what her age is, whether she's a young lady or an elderly lady. She would still need her mahram to travel with.
Is there any difference of opinion within this? Like, go ahead.
There is a difference of opinion in some of the legal schools in regards to the Fard Hajj only. In regards to the Fard Hajj only, not anything else, just the Fard Hajj. She may travel with other sisters provided that they are upright and they are considered to be responsible, and her safety is like she's confirmed, uh, she's sure or she's confident about her safety. But this is only for the Fard Hajj, not for Nafal Hajj or Nafal Umrah or any of that or any other travels. This is exclusively for the Fard Hajj.
Okay, so I want to bring something up.
Oh
Sure.
no. Why that smile?
It's dangerous. It's very dangerous.
Okay.
What about those women only Umrah groups?
Haram?
Straight up.
And you
Straight
know the ironic part about it is that there are male scholars leading that.
Yeah. But
It doesn't
like I
make any
said,
sense.
Who
اتخذ
leading it?
الناس رؤوسا جهالا فأفتوا بغير علم فضلوا وأضلوا.
There's male scholars leading female only
Oh,
Umrah groups.
male
And then they ask,
scholars.
the scholar will serve as my mahram. You can't serve as someone's mahram.
Bro,
Mahram is someone that
scholars about to
no,
get
it's
married to
important.
them.
It's important to understand what the word mahram means. Mahram is someone who you cannot marry, like forever. You can't marry that person, so you can't get a person to temporarily be your mahram, or you can't appoint someone as your mahram. That's
Can
not
I rent a
possible.
mahram?
Rent. Yo, they be renting wallies for nikas.
Rentamahram.com. Start a website.
Ask these sheikhs; they might tell you it's fine.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. Anything for and the crazy part is like they pass their own fatwa. It's sad.
Let's not call it a fatwa.
Or they pass their own their
Judgment,
writing.
judgment.
Yeah, that's not a fatwa. You're right.
Brother, Mufti Sahib has been through blood and sweat through those fatwas, man. It's a fatwa that's deep, man.
Yeah, fatwa is no joke.
Allah Akbar. I think that's a process to be learned one day too, on how a mufti actually writes a fatwa. I think that's something where people should understand the importance of it and how it's written, and then how it goes through approvals and finding references, and because it takes a lot, right? A lot of time people just think it's just saying
So we
something.
got a quick question.
Yeah,
Quick
those quick
question.
questions. Oh man, you sign on behalf of as a command of Allah on things like that. Subhanallah.
Since so hold on, let me I'm
Yeah,
gonna follow up. I'm not done yet.
bro, go
Uh,
ahead, go ahead.
I'm gonna follow up on this topic. Um, so can you clarify some of the stances where some scholars say that a particular madhab allows women to travel with a group of women if they feel safe, and I think there's one more condition or something like that.
Well, as I said, it's something that is exclusive to the Hajj journey only, and the Fard Hajj journey, not to any
Fard
journey.
Hajj, right?
Fard Hajj journey. Imam Nawawi rahimahullah clearly states that in his Majmu'. I recall checking the Hamadi books as well. They had clearly stated that. So for someone to come claim otherwise, show us your proof, show us your evidences that that school particularly or that school permits you to go on nafil journeys or where there's no need, there's no darura, without a mahram.
Hmm. Yeah, I just wanted to clear that up.
Everyone often quotes, yeah, the Shafi'i say this or that, but it's misquoting, taking partial words and not looking at the other part.
Yeah, for anyone wondering, Mufti Muaz is a Shafi'i, right? Mufti Muaz. So this guy is legit. When he says Shafi school says this, that's it. He's Mufti Muaz. Sorry for calling you out like this, but Mufti Muaz is a Shafi'i, but he did ifta in the Hanafi school, I believe, and he also did. I don't know what you did, man, but he's legit. He's legit. He knows the Hanafi school and the Shafi'i school. He knows both.
So,
MashaAllah.
so, so my question, Mufti Sahib, is that when you used to write the fatwas, you had to write it through the Hanafi school or Shafi. Like, how would those ustads tell you? Or it was the
Well,
questioner.
normally we would answer questions in accordance to the Hanafi fiqh. That's what the most questions would come. But if questions came in accordance to the Shafi'i or Hanbali school, then we would answer in accordance to that.
Mm. And it was big, right? South Africa is very big with Shawafis and so Sheikh Taha
There is
Kiram.
a lot of Shafi'iyah, but they do have Darul Iftas for that specifically.
Sheikh
Cape
Taha
Town.
Rahmatullah alayhi used to have a Dar al-Ifta.
Yeah, the MJC has a Darul Ifta board. Sheikh Mufti Taha was the head of that. Then in Newcastle, they have a Shafi'i section. Um, I believe in Normania, they also have a Shafi'i section as well.
So these students are mostly from the countries where they follow Shafis, or these are just like people from all
So
over?
Cape Town, majority of Cape Town is Shafi'i. Like majority of the people there are Shafi'is.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
but
interesting.
in Newcastle or in Amia, not I'm sorry, Newcastle or Normania, they do have quite a few Shafi'i students, a great number of Shafi'i students. So they do have Shafi'i iftar for students there as well.
Okay, yeah, it makes sense. It's interesting. That's because when we were studying in Banaria, all the Shafis that we had were kids who were either traveling from Thailand or Malaysia or Indonesia, and these were the ones because locally in Pakistan you rarely find any Shafis. You know,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. They had like one ustad specifically for Shawaf Fatwa.
yeah, we forget his name from Sri
Mufti
Lanka.
Aslam. Mufti Aslam.
Mufti Aslam from Sri Lanka.
Yes,
That was
yes,
my
yes, yes.
Sati, man. We're classmates.
Really?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Oh man, subhanAllah. That's amazing. Allahu Akbar. Khair, jazakumullah khairan, Hazrat. May Allah reward you and bless you for your time, for your commitment, for your effort, for your knowledge, for your guidance. May Allah increase for you. Give you tons of barakah and blessings, inshallah. Brothers and sisters, we'll see you next week. Please keep us and the entire Ummah in your dua. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi.